and welcome back to another video with SirLucien. So I just wanted to do my overall impressions of the Division's beta and what I thought of the game so far. And mostly I've liked, first off, the visuals are wonderful, as you can see throughout the video, and I may throw in other clips or I may just run around as we do this. The visuals are great. New York City gives you the real feel for being in New York City. New York City after, according to the kind of the storyline, 3 days after the evacuation has gone horribly wrong. And there's lots of infected areas, there's lots of people in need, and you've been activated, as their motto goes, when society falls, we rise. So pretty cool motto. So visual fidelity is fantastic for a game at this point. In the beta, had no real issues playing on the PC here. There were some graphic settings that you could adjust. So I think as maybe just a scale, maybe a 1 to 10 on visuals, I'm going to go with probably an 8.5. I think it's really good. Good ragdoll effects, good firefights, good weapons, and only games that are probably coming out in the future are going to look better than this game. This game looks better than most things that are out right now. So definitely probably about an 8.5 on visuals. Really liked it. Now on interface, UI interface, I like the minimal interface that you can see here. I like that it doesn't get in the way. I like that it floats. I like that certain pieces of information come in and out as you're doing things. Also, the menus animations are very crisp. I like the art style of it. Some of the things take a little bit to get used to, as far as using spacebar to select things, and then select if I was going to mod a weapon. And then you're going to equip it or do some other things. There's a lot of different keys here you wouldn't normally expect to use, the way they're bound within these menus, but I think the menus look good, and the way they work looks great. So if I was going to go ahead and give it a score, I would go ahead and say probably I'm going to say a 7 on user interface, because I think it's good, but there are some sticky points where takes you a few seconds to get used to. Now, a lot of those things can be rebound, and you can use your mouse or the hotkey to go ahead and use it. And I think if you've been playing the game for a while, you'll get used to the keys, which ones they are, and how the menus work, and you won't find too much problems with it. So it's definitely a good interface. Are there areas for improvement? Sure, there always is, some areas for improvement. So I'm going to go with about a 7, 7.5, somewhere in there. So now sound. Let's talk about sound. I think this game has a lot of great ambient sounds, gunfire, echoing off buildings and changing when you're in different areas, footsteps changing when you're in different areas, and you can keep your volume pretty loud. And actually, the ambient noise gives you a lot of information in this game. It's not just random ambient noise. If you're not sure where to go and you're looking for some action, typically you can just stand around on a corner and just wait. And once you start hearing gunfire echoing off the walls, you can actually locate where stuff is going on. So it does a good job of trying to use sound to point you in the area of contention. If there's bad guys around, you'll hear them talking. Right there, I just heard some gunshots to my right. So there's probably some type of action down here. Now, sometimes that could be player versus player. Sometimes that could be player versus the NPCs that roam around these maps. I'm in the dark zone right now, just kind of talking about the video here. And I think it's really cool, the amount of information you get from ambient noise, more so than in most games I've played. The music you hear, or the chatter or ambient sounds you hear from people walking around when you're in a single player area, kind of lends to the immersion of the storyline. So you do feel like you're in New York, and you're walking amongst people that are having a hard time, and just a lot of sound can help point you in directions, immerse you into the gameplay, and really really give you that feeling of you're playing here in New York. So if I was going to give it a 1 to 10 of some sort, I'm going to give the sound a 9. I think it's really good. It's the best in games probably out today. The gunfire, different guns sound differently. Putting different muzzle suppressors on make the gun sound different. The helicopters coming in through to do the extractions, the flare to call in the extraction, just all the little sounds are really good. So I'm going to go with a 9 on sound quality in the game. Storyline. Let's jump into storyline. Here's some bad guys that we can take a look at while we're talking about that. So far in the storylines, you got to play one storyline mission, and then you've got to play a bunch of side missions. And I think the side missions kind of come up after a certain amount of time, which is great. And those are varied. They help you with the base setup, which is a main function of your storyline. Oh, guys that way too. Bad guys. Gotta get out of here. Bleeding. I'm gonna try to get to cover while I'm being shot here during my video. And obviously the story talks about a virus that's been released on currency, and that's the way it's been propagated, and it's killed lots of people, and now New York has been really hard hit. We haven't got a sense yet in the beta of other areas that have been hit, so we don't know if it's only New York somehow, or if it's, countrywide, worldwide. We're just not sure yet, and you might see some of that in the more of the story when you start the game out. This game in the beta version here started you out at level 4, and I'm not sure if that's the exact place where the story starts. So when you start the game for real on March 8th, there might be actually some more storyline elements that come in that tell us more about what's going on. Also, I think what goes hand in hand with story is not only did the advertising for the game, but they did a lot of videos, a lot of agent origin videos. So there's a lot of outside the game information to give you an idea about what's going on in the game. And I think that really lends to buying into the story and getting involved with it and really wanting it to work. So I've only seen a little bit of it so far. It involved the moving into New York, setting up a base of operations, and then rescuing people that are going to help you in that base of operations. And while doing that, that unlocks abilities and skills and things for you, and probably items and weapons that we haven't seen yet, or crafting and all those kinds of things. So it's a cool way to kind of introduce those things to the gameplay. So if I was going to give it a 1 to 10 storyline, because I haven't seen a lot of it yet, I don't want to give it too high of a mark yet, because again, we've only seen a little bit. I'm going to go with a 7 so far. I think that will rise once the game's out and I get a chance to play more of the storyline to give you guys a better... But just on what they've given us a taste of so far, I'm going to put it at about a 7 storyline-wise. It's pretty good. PvP. Let's end it with PvP. Now, the Dark Zone, which I've been running around in, and I've been hiding from people because I'm not in a group or anything like that. The mechanics of the PvP are interesting. You roam around in the Dark Zone. You can face NPCs and get Dark Zone currency, experience, and possibly items. And while that's happening, other Division operatives are out here too. And if they shoot one Division operative shoots another Division operator, they go rogue. And there's a time limit on that, and then there can be a big fight. Throughout the 3 days that I've got to play, it kind of goes back and forth between the first couple of days has been a lot of people just kind of getting used to the map, going around doing things, a few rogues here and there, and then people were hunting them down. towards the end of the beta, it got more rogues you were seeing out there, more groups running around wanting to shoot each other and fight each other, and then other people being able to run around and hunt them down. So I think it's a pretty good mix of, rogue agents and regular agents out here in these zones. And the zone is pretty big within the system that we've been given to play around in. It is a hit point system and a cover-based system, so it does take more than one bullet to typically shoot somebody for the most part. You have armor that kind of absorbs some of that, and your gear can be very dependent on how good you do against another person one-on-one. But there is still some skill in there. I would say it's probably maybe a 60-40 split of skill and gear to kind of give you how good you are going to be as a PvP person. As far as a PvP experience and what I would give it on a scale of 1 to 10, normally I'm not a big PvP guy. There's a lot of times that I think PvP can ruin a game as far as just making it not fun to play, especially with the amount of griefing that could happen. Out here, you're kind of expecting it, so that's the first thing. It's not just happening in an area you don't expect. And a lot of people have gone out and fought the rogue agents, and the people that are doing that. So that seems pretty good. And before I give it the price here, or the price, the number that I think, the rating, that's where I was going for the word there, the rating. There are some things that make it a little glitchy. Friendly fire is not friendly. You have to be very careful about when you're firing that you don't hit a friendly and then all of a sudden you become a rogue agent because you accidentally, sprayed somebody while you're tracking a target. And even worse is that you could be in a group, and if you have a group member who seems to like to grenade spam or not really check where they're firing all the time, well, that's going to get your whole group's kind of triggered or flagged as rogue agents. So that can be an issue that you got to keep in mind. So on to the rating. For a PvP game, I like that it's not an arena game where it's 12 versus 12. I like that there's no loading screen that I'm sitting in waiting for a match to happen. I think the gunfights feel good. There's a lot of area, and the gunfight can happen anywhere. They're not typically happening all in the same places, although there are some places where gunfights happen often, which is the spot right here that I'm at. And I think all of that lends it to a PvP experience. I'm going to put it at about a 7. I don't think it's the greatest PvP experience, but I don't think it's bad. Are there things that could be improved? Sure. But it's just the beta too, and we'll have to see how it goes on further. So I think that's my kind of quick rundown and synopsis of The Division. Hope that helps you guys decide if you want to buy the game. I feel like it's worth the price that I've paid. Even just the little bit I paid. Oh, nice kill right there. Even though the price that I've paid seems of a good value, it's a AAA game. They put a lot of money into it. There's some things that were missing that we thought would be there, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to cut things, and that just happens in a game. So I'm going to go hunt these guys down that just shot me, and I want to say thanks for joining. Hopefully, again, my whole point of this video was just to give you an idea, if you haven't bought the game or you haven't seen a lot about the game, what you might think and what my opinion was. So we hope to see you in more videos in The Division. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.